When it comes to the quality of comic book films, the year 2005 was almost the reverse of what it is today. Warner Bros. Had released the magnificent Batman Begins, a successful reboot, while Marvel's latest effort was the absolutely dreadful Elektra. However, much like today, each studio would have a handful of films that was a standout, either good or bad. In DC's case, it was the 2005 film Constantine. I'll give credit to this film for a few things. It took the risk of being a more cerebral comic book film, eschewing the typical tropes such as superhero fanfare, bombastic fisticuffs, and large-scale final battles. It was a very loose adaptation, not being very faithful to the comics. Nevertheless, it is still an enjoyable film, and we can excuse the taken liberties to an extent. It was recently announced that a sequel will be made with Keanu Reeves returning as the intrepid warlock. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of this idea. Welcome to the Review Desk. I'm Desmond Carrick, and today I'd like to talk about why I'm worried about the Constantine sequel. As I stated, the 2005 film took many liberties with the source material. Constantine is an American instead of British, his hair is black instead of blonde, and his trademark trench coat doesn't sport the familiar beige color. Like most people with a pulse, I love Keanu Reeves, so while I'm not a fan of this version, I can't outright denounce the film. His recent appearance in The Matrix Resurrections, another sequel produced after decades which ended up being both a disaster and a disappointment, is also not the reason why I'm worried. No, my biggest issue with the 2005's Constantine's artistic license is how the script takes powerful events from the books and compresses them into superficial ventures. In order to elaborate, I'll need to tell you a story. So settle down, dear viewer, and let me regale you with the Hellblazer story arc, Dangerous Habits. In the ending of the film, Constantine sacrifices himself in order to save an innocent. Heaven takes notice of this and allows his soul to cross over. As he floats peacefully off into paradise, Constantine flips off the devil in the most memorable fashion. One of the most badass scenes in any film, by the way. But the devil's not having it. He latches onto Constantine, removes the poison that's killing him, and literally pulls him back from the brink of death. He leaves Constantine with a warning that should he drop the ball in his now extended life, Heaven will revoke his pass and he'll go straight down to hell, where unmentionable seeds of Satan's dark imagination await. A powerful scene indeed, but wait till you hear how the comics handled it. If you're currently reading the Hellblazer comics or intend to do so anytime soon, be warned. The rest of the video contains spoilers for Hellblazer issues 41 and 42. Much like in the film, John learns he's suffering from terminal lung cancer. This makes him desperate, seeking help from several parties, including an old friend, Brendan Finn. Brendan is an Irish mage and one of the few people who managed to give Constantine some semblance of peace. John hopes the spirited man will know of a way to circumvent his impending demise. Before they can get down to brass tacks, Brendan reveals that he has discovered something interesting, much more so than his vast collection of international wines. It's a spring of pure holy water, believed to have been blessed by St. Patrick himself. He uses magic to turn the divine liquid into stout and offers John a pint. The spell requires that several candles remain lit. Should the candles go out, the stout returns to its original state. John comments that it's the best beer he's ever tasted. They get to talking, and unfortunately, not only does Brendan have no means of curing Constantine of his cancer, Brendan himself is dying from terminal liver failure, the result of years and years and years of excessive and liberal inebriation. Brendan knows that he will die that very day, and both he and John find solace in the fact that they can be of some comfort to each other in their final moments. Brendan passes away, and John heads back upstairs where, to his surprise, someone is knocking on the door. As John opens the door, he feels an all too familiar chill and knows exactly who the visitor is. Satan himself. Before continuing, I should point something out. This Satan, while also appearing in the Vertigo imprint of DC Comics, is not the same character as Lucifer, who appeared in the Sandman books and later his self-titled series. This Satan belongs to a triumvirate of 3 very powerful rulers of hell. He also acknowledges the existence of Lucifer and the events that took place in Sandman. In most gentlemanly fashion, Satan states that the purpose of his visit is to collect Brendan Finn's soul. It turns out that Brendan's aforementioned wine collection was amassed thanks to a deal with Satan. In return, the Dark Lord would collect Brendan's soul. There was one stipulation to the agreement, that if Satan doesn't come to collect before the stroke of midnight on the day of his death, Brendan's soul will pass to heaven. John, while still under the influence of many drinks he's imbibed, cannot stand by and allow his friend's soul to be taken to the dark pit. So he quickly comes up with a plan. Congratulating Satan on his victory, John offers him a glass of stout. After the demon finishes his drink, John informs him of the ritual and blows out all the candles. This turns the stout back to holy water, which is now flowing in Satan's body. You can imagine how this must feel for a demon, powerful or not. John destroys what's left of Satan's mortal form, giving the demon no choice but to return to hell and recover. John's done it. He saved his friend's soul from eternal torment. But man, his troubles have gotten much, much worse. With little time left himself, John knows what awaits him. There's no way he's getting into heaven with his track record, and as soon as he dies, his soul will go to hell where there's not even a word for what Satan has planned for him. Torture sounds like a cool dip in the pool compared to those impending horrors. John has to find a way to get out of this mess, and so he puts together one of the greatest capers of his career. Remember when I said Satan was part of a triumvirate? This becomes a crucial part of John's last-ditch effort. In an abandoned building, he works his magic, and in separate instances summons the other two demons of the triumvirate, unbeknownst to each other. He has to take care to erase any trace of the ceremony before summoning the next demon, otherwise they'll be onto his plan in an instant. Upon summoning them, John promises each of the demons his soul upon his demise. As his death draws closer, Constantine clings to hope that his scheme will be successful. He feels his life drain away, and then Satan appears, ready to claim what is rightfully his. But much to his surprise, so do his two brothers. Each of them states they have a claim to Constantine's soul, Satan by right of insult, and the other two by contract. Satan is infuriated by the entire ordeal and is ready to go to war over John's soul, even though he's not guaranteed to come out victorious. But even worse, one of the demons points out that a battle between the three of them will result in no victor at all, as this would cause God to descend to hell and enslave all the fallen ones as servants to heaven. Obviously no one wants this, but Satan's utter loathing for Constantine is such that he'd rather risk indentured servitude to heaven if it means that he can subject Constantine's ever-elusive soul to unimaginable punishment. The three debate the matter back and forth, but time is running out. Eventually, right before Constantine dies, the three reluctantly agree that their only option is to keep him alive, which means they have to use their power to heal him. They find some small pleasure in this, however. Rather than outright healing John, they tear his body apart and pull out the sick bits. John is not only conscious, but feels every last bit of pain. Pain so unbearable that he can't even bring himself to scream. After tearing out the tainted lungs, Satan regrows them, an act which, according to John himself, is what hurts the most of the entire ordeal. They finalize the procedure by burning off John's entire skin and tissue and rebuilding him from the ground up. Phased but fully healed, John gets up and greets the demons with his trademark insolence. And there it is. The magnificent bastard's done it. Not only has he tricked the three most powerful demons in hell, something no mortal has ever done in billions of years, he's also forced them to heal him and keep him alive. Yep, they have to make sure he doesn't die, because if he does, by their hand or otherwise, it's war over a soul, and then bang, game over, my son. And so you see, this story is like a raging inferno of wit and effort, one of which the 2005 film only gave us embers by comparison. The film botches the lore, which is why, rather than a sequel, I prefer a new film or TV series that will give the Constantine mythology the respect and proper treatment it deserves. The plans to produce this sequel meant that a Constantine TV show that was already in the works has now been cancelled. However, this show would have been produced by JJ I don't know how to end a story Abrams, so maybe it was for the best after all. What do you think? Should they reboot the franchise in a more faithful direction, or is there hope for Keanu's Constantine yet? Let me know in the comments below.